Hello, beta testers. A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention. It's easy to dismiss something when it looks like this. People dismiss Fortnite because it's just a kid's game. I mean, look at it. But it's an Unreal Engine game, and whenever Epic decides, it can look like this. Would it interest you to know that this is what Mark Zuckerberg's Metaverse looks like in the current state of development today? Funny what money can do. The money funds the minds. The minds develop the vision. The vision that the technology can help execute. The brighter the mind, the fancier the tech, the more frightening the creation. We create, we advance. Art is the product of imagination. Art dares to dream. Good art has an impact. It resonates, generates a range of reactions, a radiance, a shining, brilliant beauty. A pause for a breath. You've probably seen a woman that you consider a work of art, a paralyzing defiance of an ugly, cruel environment, a rose in bloom. To get to the point, there's a strong likelihood that every single one of you watching or listening is a gamer. From people who simply had to try the Nintendo Wii, or people wanting to see what all the fuss was about with Pokemon Go. Phone technology is now sophisticated enough that the games are vastly superior to most of what we had for our first logins. Casual is a term that we apply to gamers as a recognition of how little time they may have invested in this space, but if time is the deciding factor, then there must be many, many women who are hardcore gamers having played exclusively Candy Crush. You might never put a chip in your head and risk microwaving your brain, but if you slapped an Apple logo on it, the corny Metaverse could never have gotten your attention, and neither NFTs. But if we called them skins in a Fortnite locker, and we called the Metaverse Grand Theft Auto 6, suddenly we have a line around the block. We all have our weaknesses. With live services or games as a service in mind, beta tester, I say again, time is money. But since we're all gamers here, maybe you'll understand time is currency better. You have a limited amount of this currency, and you must budget how you spend it because there is a limited supply, and running out of time leaves you without options, and in worst case scenarios, without a choice. For every year since Grand Theft Auto 5 launched, it has remained in the top 5 games sold that year. And not just every year, but every month, too. For a decade. So, if we can get one thing clear right off the bat, Grand Theft Auto 6 is too big to fail. The definition of success, however, varies from person to corporation. For us, it needs to exceed its predecessor, and we can probably expect that at the very least on a technical level. But for me, it needs to allow female characters to be the jiggle physics waifus that Eastern games, anime, TikTok, and mobile games offer. That's your competition. Walking around in game alone should feel like a goddamn fashion show. And if the game with a literal casino in it doesn't understand how lucrative allowing every player to represent themselves as beautifully as the technology can manage then it deserves to forfeit the money to the very same woke jackasses arguing about how offensive curves are, while secretly using their jiggle physics anime VTubers to get people to actually like them on the fucking internet. But that's just me. I imagine Rockstar's idea of success for Grand Theft Auto is likely as bleak as today is if we were to travel back in time 10 years and explain it to ourselves. So what does a property so appealing that it's captivated for a decade do to top itself? In an article, Jason Schreier writes about the frat boy culture at Rockstar changing, and I immediately would want to argue that whatever culture surrounded the development of Grand Theft Auto is exactly what made it relatable, resonant, culturally impactful, and successful. I'd go further to say that the pussified, overly cautious, drenched in ESG sanitization that has a decade's worth of flops, burdened or over-encumbered with gender identity politics is exactly what Saints Row reboots are made of.
We're always punching up. We want to be absurdist, we don't want to be mean.
Nowadays, we want to laugh with everybody, not at people.
You know, it's basically you can be funny and still be decent.
Wow, dude.
Some things we did not age well, and we're not doing that.
What the fuck?
A bonus.
Actual fuck? What the actual goddamn fuck?
Never
Actual
believe.
goddamn motherfucking goddamn fuck. Crap.
No,
crap,
the licensed
crap,
music.
Goddamn fucking shit. Crap,
There might be some
son
music
of a
right now.
bitch
I don't know.
ass,
Probably
this
is.
White crap, and crap.
Please don't be too harsh in the comments.
Beta testers, please do be too harsh in the comments telling me how you'd react if Rockstar did this immediately after Volition did it and their studio shut down, because they had to argue with fans and then drop a dated buggy bucket of crap where exiting a vehicle has a chance to injure you. An episode of SpongeBob called Squirrel Jokes has a more relatable take on what humor should be. If you punch in every direction and don't patronize, don't pander, how can we be mad at you? You're not working any one spot. You're giving everybody their due. Woke takes the dinosaur out of Jurassic Park, and you will not take the Trevor out of GTA. My name is Kyle. Truth gets me in trouble. I'd love to be a real guy in the sea of a-holes that you're forced to listen to because nobody else covers the hyper-specific bullshit you're into, so please like, subscribe, comment, or correct me below. But if I may have your attention, I hope in this video to open your eyes. Woke, in this context, has nothing to do with a female protagonist or political themes and motivations, which would naturally and relatably enhance any well-written and executed story. The woke I speak of is the forced and transparent college brochureification of a world pretending to be offended by normalcy. Journalist Jason Schreier, and white as the driven snow-staffed Eurogamer, needing to point out that there are only white men in the studio and this studio isn't making a diverse enough game. The gamer doesn't care about any of that. We want a fun game, and the overlords and the investors only care about what profits. I hope this doesn't come as a shock to you.
I can talk even quieter than that.
In a tweet, I said that game developers have gone from a frat culture to a men starting their own sorority culture. Maybe they were chosen for their skill, expertise, and passion for the specific project, but trying to
force behaviors
isn't exactly a jig you can hold down after people recognize and reject the patterns. That jig is up. Recently, a bunch of men identified as non-binary to attend a fair of sorts that was clearly meant for women. Recently, maybe that's all I should say. I call these Matt and Trey Parker moments, when nothing needs to be changed to make a perfect South Park episode. Like Chappelle, sometimes I feel simply narrating current events is enough to piss people off because apparently we're not supposed to acknowledge it. Whatever. Well, I'm sorry about whatever crawled up some cold, old, frigid bitch's ass, but What in God's name have I done from my bedroom? This is all honestly fascinating in a nature documentary kind of way, if you can remove yourself from the current time and objectively just spectate. What I want is for Grand Theft Auto's writers to be laughing at the circus with us. We don't need them to be part of the production. Please like this video. I want it to get out there. Because after this, I want to entertain you, because you deserve that. This culture war has robbed you of comedy, the kind of jackass, unapologetic, clearly some douche just saying something to try to make you laugh in a harmless way without permission, because sometimes the best laugh comes at somebody else's expense. You know, you short-circuited somebody's brain and, oh, I'm going to hell for this. I shouldn't be laughing. Oh, I'm so bad. This is Conan O'Brien. When I see him, I smile. I won't tell you why, but if you had to guess, you could easily reach like 5 different reasons without trying if you know the man. I'm ready to laugh before this dude opens his mouth. He's earned that. His image unlocks the laugh he reliably has gifted me in the past. I'm gonna splash some images up and you tell me if they inspire something similar to that feeling in you. For informed gamers, please comment below. Does seeing this face make you smile? Does it inspire any positive feelings? Mass Effect is dead. Saints Row is dead. Fable is dead. Halo Infinite is dead. Mortal Kombat is suffering. Studios across gaming are laying people off, and the SJW echo chamber of fake gamers that demanded fixes to what wasn't broken have failed to fund and have crippled some of these studios. But that's their own bitch ass fault, because they went balls deep in this hand up they ass puppet ESG garbage, bro. Sucks to suck, bro. We got it hard too. The prices of things have doubled out here. Ugly women. That's the gambit. But only in the West, right? Choking on this ugly women crap you're forcing. You're deliberately limiting yourself. When competition does not. If it were up to them, we would have no options, no choice. They would create the standards, but that wouldn't be enough. We need to be muted, have our comments hidden, comment section locked even, banned, filtered. Feedback is one of the few tools that we have to warn one another against shoddy products and scummy practices. Saints Row wasn't just an inferior predecessor all these years later, it was defective, it wasn't ready, and in my opinion, shameful enough that longtime fans who had been openly fighting and ignored were justified in being fed up well before the Saints Row team called anyone leaving negative reviews literal terrorists. Because apparently this game is a work of art. Unmedicated take. Unfinished products, misleading marketing, flat-out false advertisements, deceptive omissions of factors that would drastically alter the customer's interest, arguments from lazy and uncreative people that a rich, finished game without microtransactions shouldn't be an expectation. Right. After Elden Ring upset for the same reasons, but overwhelmingly pleased fans, greed, lies, nerfs, these must be the pronouns of the gaming industry as of late. Japan, China, Korea, they're the only light in this darkness, allowing women to be beautiful. It's hard not to be dazzled by how South Korea utilizes Unreal Engine 5. What a shame the technology isn't being utilized here. Looking to the east, it's hard not to appreciate the steps forward, the evolution. And Nintendo is at a disadvantage on inferior hardware, but they'll be dominating with more movies too, because fan service not taboo. But for the last decade in gaming in the West, the types being represented are getting blacklisted by Nintendo because they're not lovers of our art. One entity who ironically sees the domain The Gamer for their publication constantly flexes their hypocrisy. Don't think too hard on why they want women uglier in digital games, but have no issue with how men are presented. They are literally in a fight with facts, angry enough about community notes to write an entire article. And it is not a trend. You'll find many, air quotes, games journalists firmly united in the belief that our input is useless because only what they think is important. Recently, Community Notes helped shut Bungie the hell up when it failed to pander to Latinos with this cultural colonization Latinx racism, when Latinos have made it abundantly clear that they hate it. Spanish is wonderful because it's a gendered language, which you figure woke people would love since they can't shut the hell up about it, but apparently they're offended by it because, they're offended by everything. So they would prefer if you accept this label corporate has passed down for you to use. If you disagree, you're getting silenced, Latinos, because this isn't really about you. It's about us, and you can either be our token ethnic, free of charge apparently, and smile when I tell you to smile, or your comments will not see the light of day. So saith us, the people in charge of whether or not your comment should be hidden. Fuck you. That's a nice culture you got there. It'd be a shame if it were to be appropriated. When Bungie speaks, you will remain silent. When Bungie rises, you will bow. When Bungie says jump, you will buy their battle pass, their expansion, their microtransaction, my early access for my new game. Bungie fails to co-opt an identity movement and misrepresents Latino people in a selfish attempt to market themselves, and look where it got them. They knew better than the Latinos. They're on the right side of history, after all. This is for people's own good. Edie's what it is. Disagree? Touch grass. The dyed hair white people have arrived, and we are the saviors offended on your behalf. For a decade, this lazy culture war has poisoned entertainment with pointless race swaps, gender swaps, and lectures from socially inexperienced and overpaid California writers. For a decade, you could just gather headlines from Florida and literally recreate the scripted events as exactly as it happened, because this should be Florida Man, the video game. Seek nothing short of perfection is the literal quote from people running your show. Will this translate to put ugly, flat-chested, no jiggle physics women in Grand Theft Auto 6? We suppose only time will tell. If Rockstar proves they're washed up, a sellout, and isn't even willing to play the hits that you know that we love, I hope, beta tester, that you observe mods, servers, shops, and video games and incorporate what a modder would make available as part of an appealing package. Because when they don't, you, modder, should. 'Cause Sega did what Nintendo don't. As cringe as modern flame wars calling themselves console wars are in the sorry state of gaming these days, competition is important. Real competition, the type that offers choice. I rambled long and I apologize. I thank you patrons for tolerating and supporting this endeavor. I hope you know that all of your likes really do push this up, and I thank you for not only listening, but watching, man. Rock concerts I don't think should have to cater to people with sensitivity to the sound. I don't think mature media should cater to babies.